The Dallas Cowboys just changed everything, so we're going to be going through that and other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Dallas have a huge update on their trade deadline plans. The Dallas Cowboys are nowhere close to panic mode, but the clock is ticking on Dallas making a key move at the trade deadline. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has been active at the deadline before, but a recent update doesn't signal another big move this season. Fox's NFL insider Jay Glazer sat down with David Hellman to answer questions from NFL fans, including one about the Cowboys' plans for the trade deadline. For those hoping for reinforcements, Glazer's latest info will be discouraging. They did in the past with Amari Cooper a few years ago, right? Glazer began. Dallas is always pretty aggressive, especially if they think, we're on the cusp here, we need something else. But just in my conversations this week, when I was asking around, hey, who are some of the names we might see? There really wasn't a lot. In the past, you knew, okay, these players whose contracts are in the last year of their deal, these guys might be valuable. We just didn't see a lot of marquee names. It's not ruling out any move for Dallas, but it also deflates any buzz about a major addition. Never say never with Jerry Jones at the helm, but Glazer is one of the most plugged-in NFL reporters. After dominant wins over the New York Giants and New York Jets, Dallas looked to have no issues on offense. Sure, the defense had supplemented those performances, but the offense had still scored 5 touchdowns over those first 2 games. But after a 1-2 stretch and just 4 offensive touchdowns over the past 3 games, the perception has changed drastically. While the San Francisco 49ers were able to easily move the ball on a stout Cowboys defense in Week 5, the Cowboys could not do the same. Dallas QB Dak Prescott throwing 3 interceptions doesn't help either. But Dallas isn't pulling the plug on their veteran QB midway through the season, but they could still look to add new weapons for the offense. While Glazer is downplaying the chances of a move, other analysts are throwing out potential pickups for Dallas, including Arizona Cardinals tight end Zach Ertz. Ertz is a 3-time Pro Bowler and a former Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles. Bleacher Report's Alex Ballentine suggested the move, stating that Ertz could be the answer for Dallas in terms of finding a veteran who can pair with Ferguson and pays big dividends. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of Ballentine's idea is the point about 12 personnel, 1 RB, 2 TEs, which the Cowboys excel in but are 22nd in the NFL in terms of frequency. Heavy's Jonathan Adams thinks that Ertz's pay and production this year makes him a bad fit for Dallas. Ertz has 22 receptions for 146 receiving yards and a touchdown on the season. The second story is Jerry Jones reveals what the Dallas Cowboys are planning this bye week. Statistically speaking, the difference between moving to a 4-2 record versus stalling to a 3-3 start is much larger than most people realize. Facing the latter, as they marched onto the field at SoFi Stadium on Monday night, the Dallas Cowboys mounted up and delivered a gritty victory against Kellen Moore's offense and the Los Angeles Chargers' defense. The 2017 win has owner and general manager Jerry Jones levitating, as he noted in his radio address to 105.3 FM, The Fan on Tuesday, speaking from owners' meetings in New York. Didn't have to get on an airplane, he said. I was flying without anything as I went across this country last night after the game. It was really a great experience. It wasn't the cleanest of contests for either team, both suffering a rash of penalties in what ultimately boiled down to a game-winning boot by Brandon Aubrey that was secured by a final drive shutdown by way of a sack from Micah Parsons and an interception by Stephon Gilmore. Win pretty or win ugly, just win. It was a hard-fought game, said Jonas. They've got a good quarterback and good players. We respected them going in. They were everything we thought they'd be. I'm really proud that we got out there and had that kind of win against them. Dak Prescott delivered the best outing of his 2023 season, using both his legs and his arm to will the Cowboys' offensive forward on many occasions. The 2-team Pro Bowl quarterback went on to label the game a must-win following the victory, and Jones agrees. It was one the Cowboys absolutely had to have, especially given the events of the week prior. We did well, Jones said. That was an important win for us, and yes, we did need to win because of the disappointment we had in San Francisco. We'll use this bye week to really evaluate our first 6 games. We're a long way down the road from when we left training camp, and we've got a long way to go. As stated, there is still much work to be done to get the offense firing on all cylinders, but there is renewed reason for optimism when factoring in Prescott's resurgent mobility and escapability along with the debut of Brandon Cook's explosiveness for Dallas. Heading into their bye week, they can feel solid about owning a record of 4-2 during a stretch that included 4 road games, 3 of which were in the Pacific time zone. They'll need to refresh and reload for Week 8 when one of the California-based teams travel to meet the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium, namely the Los Angeles Rams. I think we do have serious room for improvement. We have that, said Jones. We're not yet the team we can be. The major limiting factor for our team to evolve and get better will be availability of players we're counting on. Injury, principally, is the problem, but if we can stay healthy, we will evolve and get better. We have outstanding talent. CeeDee Lamb admits he made a mistake in showing off his frustration last week after falling short of his wish to impact what became a Dallas Cowboys 42-10 loss at San Francisco. There were going to be 2 ways to fix that mistake in Week 6 at the Los Angeles Chargers. 1, quit wearing your emotions on your silver and blue sleeve. And 2, help beat the Chargers 2017 by contributing 7 receptions and 117 yards. Coming out here and being able to provide for my team and contribute to the win is probably the best thing for me, Lamb said. I feel like I'm definitely an impactful player, so for us to get this going early and to get me the ball early, it was very important. It is indeed traditionally important to make sure star receivers get fed. That's in part about the rhythm of an offense, but it's also about keeping that sort of player feeling involved. Lamb had just 4 catches last week in the blowout and was unhappy about all of it. So much so that Coach Mike McCarthy and QB Dak Prescott each held private meetings with the Pro Bowl receiver to calm the waters. And for Lamb on Monday night, the connection with Prescott was obvious, as was the Cowboys' wish to grease up the squeaky wheel. I'm very impressed, of course, Lamb said of Prescott's performance, which featured the QB as a passing and running dual threat. We were much more focused. As a team, we do our part to make him look as good as he should be. Amid speculation that there is some sort of a personality issue between the two, there isn't, but sideline pouting on national TV can obviously create that impression. Lamb was quick to defend his quarterback, mentioning the star on the helmet as the critics' driving force. People are going to be critical of him regardless, Lamb said. That's just the star he is. All true. But the criticism will be slow to come now. The Cowboys are 4-2 and now get to rest and rehab through the upcoming bye week. The third story is Cowboys star Micah Parsons' message to naysayers after bounce-back win over Chargers. The Dallas Cowboys won a key game against the Los Angeles Chargers last night with a solid showing from the defense led by Micah Parsons, bouncing back after the blowout loss to the San Francisco 49ers last week. For Parsons, he said after the game that it's all about proving the doubters wrong, citing the win as a statement to throw back at them according to ESPN's Todd Archer. The win was good, edge player Micah Parsons said. It's good to always get back on track. That's our record. Prove the naysayers wrong. The Cowboys' defense wasn't able to force a turnover or sack Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert the whole game until the very last 2 plays. Parsons sacked Herbert on 1 down and then defensive back. Stephon Gilmore sealed the win with a back-breaking interception for the Chargers right after. The play-caller bowl between the Dallas Cowboys and Los Angeles Chargers failed to provide a clear-cut winner. Both Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore entered the game with something to prove, and neither really cooked, as the kids say. But anyone watching Monday Night Football in Week 6 saw one quarterback outperform the other. And let me tell you, it wasn't Justin Herbert on the winning side of that debate. Is he a better quarterback overall? Probably so. But Prescott outplayed him on Monday as he willed his team to a primetime win. However, it's difficult to understate just how important the Cowboys' defense was in slowing down the Chargers' quarterback. Many have pointed out that Herbert had some clear misses during the game, and he did. But don't let that distract you from the fact that the pass rush forced many of them. The box score might hide that very well, given that the Cowboys finished the night with just 1 sack, courtesy of Micah Parsons in the Chargers' final drive of the game. No one had pressured Herbert as much this season as the Cowboys did. Parsons' name might not have been called a whole lot on the broadcast, but the Chargers clearly dedicated a lot of resources to slowing him down. To a degree, it worked. But pressuring Herbert led to many incomplete passes. Per PFF, the Chargers quarterback completed only 8 of 18 passes under pressure, good for a mediocre 44.4% completion rate. And make no mistake about it, the Cowboys didn't beat up a bad offensive line. In fact, the Chargers were top 10 in pressure rate allowed in the NFL entering Week 6. This is all to say one thing: the Cowboys' defense is still legit. It's impossible to erase whatever happened in San Francisco from the record books, and we shouldn't. At the end of the day, the team is planning on meeting the 49ers again in January, but this unit should still be feared, something the NFL world seemed to forget when setting the projected game total at 50.5 points.